Hello, my name is Thomas, and I am currently living in Bangkok, Thailand. 2025, I'm on sabbatical. And I came to Bangkok to train Muay Thai, and I thought it'd be a good time to do a video and talk about how much it costs to live in Bangkok. I just want to start by saying that Bangkok can be as cheap as you want it to be or as expensive as you want it to be. On the lower end, I know people who are living in Thailand on $1,000 American per month, and you can definitely do that. Even here in Bangkok, you can rent a condo for about 10,000 baht a month. That's about like $300. And then utilities is maybe like another $100 or so, depending on how much you run your air conditioning. And then you got a couple $100 left to spend on food, which is quite a lot of money. On the flip side, Bangkok is also a city where there's probably no upper limit to how much you can spend here. So I have a friend who spends close to 300,000 baht per month to rent his condo, and that is just under $3,000 American. So it's basically just like paying to rent an apartment in America. And you can easily find apartments even well above that, and you can pay to have, housekeeping staff, people cook for you, people to clean your apartment every day. You can hire a private driver, all sorts of stuff. There's really no upper limit to how much money you can spend here in Bangkok, not just on living, but also on like shopping and experiences. The second thing is, before I came to Bangkok, I imagined that I'd be living here on about $1,000 a month, because I knew that food in Bangkok was really cheap, and I knew that you can rent a condo for about 20,000 baht, and that's going to be in like a central part of Bangkok in a very accessible place that's really close to the BTS train. So I figured with the other $400, it's definitely more than enough to pay for everything else. So my first month here in Bangkok, how much did I actually spend? Okay, so let's start with the grand total. In my first month in Bangkok, which is basically the beginning of August until the end of August, I spent 122,000 baht, which is $3,777. Now, to be fair, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money, but I need to explain and break that out a little bit, because there were certain things, part of this number, that aren't really a true reflection of how much it costs to live 1 month in Bangkok. So of this 122,000, about 40,000 of it, like 38,600 baht, I spent on prepaying my rent. So I have a 3-month contract here in my condo. I guess my agent and my landlord offered me a deal, and they said, hey, your condo fees are 20,000 baht a month, but if you prepay your second and third month, then we'll give you a slight discount of 38,000 instead. So that's what I did. So I paid 38,000 baht in my first month here to prepay my rent, and I ended up saving 2,000 baht. And then there was another $600 where the AC repair guys had to come and take a look at one of the AC units in my condo, and my agent said, hey, I can't be there to pay them. Can you just pay them out of your pocket, and we'll reimburse you later? So that money, 38,600, if you take it off from the total of 122,000, we are closer to about 80,000 baht, which is around $2,500. That's still a lot of money, but that's much more reasonable because, not everyone, because I think when you are prepaying your rent ahead of time, that's an expense that should be coming out of like a future month, but it just so happened that I paid it in August, so it hit my budget in August. Now, there's also Muay Thai, which I'm here to train. So if we take out Muay Thai, which is around 13,345 baht, most of that is the initial equipment I bought, which is like shin guards and shorts. And then the rest is like class fees. So I would say like 60% of that is just equipment, the rest is class fees. If we take out the Muay Thai, just because not everyone coming to Bangkok is going to train Muay Thai, then the total drops even more. And now we're down to 67,000 baht, which is just over $2,000. And then finally, if we remove the security deposit, because I had to pay a security deposit when I signed the lease for my condo, then what I actually spent in a month here in Bangkok is 47,000 baht, which is about $1,500, just under like $1,450-ish. So looking over at my budget tracker, what are the categories I spent the money in? So housing was a really big one. Housing for me is 20,000 baht per month. That's how much my condo costs to rent. And the first month, I pretty much ran the AC indiscriminately. So like I would leave the AC on in the living room when I was like stepping out, and I just basically left one AC in my condo on at all times, and then at night I would turn on the one in my bedroom to sleep. And that came out to 3,000 baht for the month of August, which is about 100 baht per day. So total for housing is 23,000 baht. In terms of things like supplies, so when I first moved in, I had to buy a lot of supplies, like cleaning supplies for the house, paper towels, toilet paper, things of that nature. I needed like bath towels because I didn't bring any. And then I also bought like a frying pan. So that came out to about 4,000 baht. And I don't think that's like a realistic total. I think first month that number is really high, but I think moving forward, like you really don't need that much in terms of household supplies. You might need like some cleaners. I bought some like laundry detergent recently, and that's maybe like a couple hundred baht. So for me, that number was just really high in the first month because I moved in to my condo here in Bangkok. Transportation, I spent just over 3,600 baht, and there were some Grab rides here, not a lot, because some of the Grab rides I needed to take to go to one of the gyms I train at, which is Superbon's Training Academy. It's further away from the city, and it's really hard to get there through public transit. So I end up spending some money taking a Grab to get to and from this gym. But other than that, most of it is just taking the BTS. Like, I think when I initially came here, because I was traveling so much throughout the city and exploring so much of it, I was taking a lot of the BTS. And honestly, I think a lot of this 3,600 baht or so was actually the BTS. Food, I spent 7,270 baht, which is... Now I'm doing the math, which is $225. So that's pretty good. That's not bad at all. This food is just all the stuff I bought. That doesn't count groceries. So all the stuff outside the apartment, like, teas and coffees, lunch everywhere. So for this to be $225, and, I ate a lot. I pretty much ate whatever I felt like it. I didn't eat a lot at malls because eating at malls is pretty expensive. But otherwise, if you're eating on like the street markets and the food markets and in the malls like the Lotus, it's really cheap. Groceries, I bought some groceries, so yogurt, cereal, some instant ramen, some like bread and eggs to make up breakfast. So that came in at 3,200, which is about half of the bill for food. So that's exactly $100. Okay, so on groceries I spent $100. The next category is miscellaneous. So this was a bunch of stuff that I didn't really know what to put in here. Looking over at this category, I know that some of the stuff is not really what most people are going to necessarily spend. So for example, I needed a mouse for my computer. That was 600 baht. I needed a PC repair on my laptop. There was an issue where the fan died. So that was 2,000 baht. I went to see a movie, to see the F1 movie. And there was a SIM card in here for a couple hundred baht, 650 baht. And then I had house cleaners, and they were 600 baht. So this is sort of a miscellaneous category. A lot of this stuff isn't going to come up. Like, I'm not going to need to repair my PC every month, or am I buying like a mouse and a SIM card as a one-time expense. The housekeeping, it is like a monthly expense. I do hire someone to come and clean my apartment once a month, so that's a legitimate expense. Finally, there's a category here called toys. So I do have a small collection now of toys and figures, and I spend about 2,500 baht here. But again, most people don't spend that on toys, and that's not like a reoccurring monthly expense. And then finally, in my sheet, I think I already mentioned, was Muay Thai, which is just over 13,000 baht. So all of that came out to 122,000 baht. But again, I'll put up the numbers to show what it would have been like if we change the accounting a bit and present a picture that is much more accurate for the actual month. Because like I mentioned, I did prepay rent, I did do Muay Thai, and there was also a security deposit I had to pay. So if you factor out some of these things, I ended up spending around $1,500 for my first month here in Thailand. I think that's probably about what I was expecting it to cost to live in Bangkok, because I knew that my condo would have been at least like $600, and then like let's just round up to $700 once you include the utilities. And then for me, I knew that you're probably going to spend a similar amount of money on just living life, just eating food, getting to places. $1,500 American, live here in Bangkok, to live really comfortably, to live in a nice condo, live in a nice part of the city, eat good food, get groceries and whatever you need. I think that's a pretty good deal. And that's really the reason why so many foreigners want to move to Bangkok, because you can live a really comfortable life here, way less than what it would cost to live, for example, in America. There's no way I would be able to rent a one-bedroom apartment in like a major city, be able to eat out all the time, have groceries, and like do all this stuff for like $1,500 a month. Like that's not possible in America right now. So yep, that's it. That's all I've got for this video. Hopefully you found this useful if you are someone who's considering moving to Bangkok. I would say that on the low end, you can live here for about $1,000 a month. And for me, like living comfortably, I think if you can spend like $2,000 a month, you're going to live really well here in Bangkok. So that's it. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far in the video, I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself, and if you can, someone else too.